Weird. Anyway, what are we talking about today? Oh, we're doing Spider-Man. Again?
Wait, there's more? What are you...
Oh, I think I see what you're getting at. Okay.
The 90s. The renaissance of superhero media. We may joke about the grimdark, over-the-top comics of the time, and especially the many god-awful costumes, but if we look towards TV, things were positively booming. Every major superhero and superhero team seemed to be getting a new cartoon at the time. Spider-Man, the Hulk, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men. And while they were still clearly for kids and had their own trappings and flaws typical of the time, they were much more willing to adapt actual stories from the comics and pull from their vast pool of characters than most superhero cartoons had been before.
For many kids of the 90s such as myself, these became the definitive versions of these characters, and almost any adaptation that has come out since then tends to get compared to them, fairly or not so fairly.
One of the most famous and successful examples was, of course, Batman the Animated Series, which upped the game for Saturday morning animation in just about all aspects. Script quality, voice acting, animation, you name it, and Batman the Animated Series raised the bar. It came hot on the heels of an iconic movie, reinvented and reintroduced forgotten characters and concepts, and even created a few new ones that became comic book mainstays. And of course, the logical next step was to give an animated show to the other DC Comics poster boy. The Last Son of Krypton, the Man of Steel, Big Blue, Superman.
And on a fair and just Earth, we'd have gotten a Wonder Woman show too, but the world is just a bitch like that sometimes. Still holding on to hope.
People don't talk about this Superman show as often as they do Batman, and frankly it baffles me because I think it's just as good. It may have a totally different tone than Batman, as it damn well should have, but it's just as dedicated to delivering high-quality, faithful Superman stories. And on top of that, a lot of its stories sowed the seeds for some of the best episodes that the later Justice League cartoon had to offer. And with James Gunn's new Superman movie in theaters, this seems to be the perfect time to talk about this iconic show.
And that's why I've decided to talk to you about some of my personal favorite episodes of Superman the Animated Series. Just a handful of little snippets of the Man of Steel doing what he does best. Saving the day and inspiring hope.
Now, as usual, keep in mind that these are just my own personal favorites. I'm not saying these are objectively the best or anything, and your favorites are obviously just as valid as mine.
Oh, and I'm focusing on standalone episodes, so don't expect to see stuff like The Last Son of Krypton, Apocalypse Now, or anything like that.
Not that these episodes aren't great, mind you. I just want to focus on quick standalone Superman adventures more than story arcs for this particular video. They're also presented in order of when they aired, so this isn't by any stretch supposed to be some kind of top 10 video or anything. It's just supposed to be a brief look at what the show has to offer.
Alright, I'm sure you're tired of the intro crap by now, so let's just go up, and away and get to the episodes.
Fun and games. What a perfect episode to show off Superman's day-to-day. I've always really liked Toyman. I consider him a practically perfect starter Superman villain. He has a fun gimmick, he immediately gives Superman something big and colorful to punch without things getting too complicated, and there's a lot of creative stuff you can do with weaponized toys.
It's just a shame that no two artists or writers can seem to agree on a personality or design for him.
And I have to confess, I'm not actually that crazy about his design in this show. I know I'm in the minority here, but as effectively creepy as it is, it's just a little too Batman roguey for me. I like Toyman better when he's a frumpy looking dude in gaudy clothes. It brings to light a much better contrast between his Toyman persona and who he actually is, if you ask me.
But with that said, I think his personality in the dcau is freaking great.
Introduced here as the son of a toy maker who was framed by the gangster Bruno Mannheim and died in prison, Toyman is someone whose childhood was cruelly snatched away from him, and who in his own words is getting it back with a vengeance. And boy howdy does he mean it. Toy soldiers that fire real bullets, bouncing rubber balls that can ram through steel. Toyman just waltzes in and starts playing games with everyone, not even flinching in the face of conventional weaponry.
And that is what makes him effectively scary to me, even without the mask.
And I mean, if you can't appreciate the sight of Superman beating the ever-living hell out of a giant rubber duck, then I'm not sure you have even the slightest ounce of joy in your soul. This episode is superheroism at its simplest, most colorful and exciting. A bad guy tries to kill someone, puts Lois in danger in doing so, and Superman saves the day. It's the perfect first episode to establish the status quo after the intense 3-part pilot, and I love it. Good going, Toyman. You'll always be one of my favorite Superman rogues. Speed Demons. The Flash episode.
Okay, look, I'm gonna be real with you. This is just me being 100% biased.
The Flash is by far one of my favorite superheroes ever, and while I know he isn't exactly hurting for appearances on TV, I've always been sore about him not getting an animated series, and the Rogue's not getting much attention outside of cameos or brief action scenes in various Justice League movies. So seeing an episode where a race between Superman and the Flash gets intercepted by the Weather Wizard is just perfect for me. The idea of Superman and Flash racing being a shout-out to an oft-repeated Silver Age concept is just icing on the cake. Now, the Rogues are pretty infamous for squandering their powers and tech on petty crime and never really living up to their potential as villains, and I'm not saying that isn't true. Honestly, I think it's part of their charm.
However, I've never liked the idea that that means they have to be totally pathetic and can't be genuinely dangerous, and I think this episode manages to strike a near-perfect balance between the two.
I mean, Weather Wizard is causing calamity after calamity all over the world. He's willing to kill his brother who invented the tech in the first place, and he carries himself with smugness and grandeur. But all he can think to do with this power is demand money.
Unless you transfer $1 billion into my overseas account within the hour, the forecast will be decidedly gloomy.
Like, my guy, think big, goddammit. You're basically a god with that thing. Who taught you how to be a villain? Dr. Evil?
$100 billion!
But anyway, it's the best of both worlds, it's the start of a budding friendship, and a cool showcase of who the Flash is and what he can do. Just think of it as a prequel to that awesome Justice League episode where the Flash is hanging out with Orion and Batman.
Got me again, Flash!
Livewire. Okay, so we all know the story of Harley Quinn, right? She was created for Batman the Animated Series as a hench girl for the Joker, she gradually became one of the most popular characters, and then immigrated to the comics where she quickly became iconic enough that dressing like her is slowly becoming the most basic bitch move a cosplayer can pull.
But did it work as well the second time Bruce Timm and company tried it?
Well, not really, but it came pretty damn close. Way closer than Volcana ever did anyway, but that's a different story. Livewire came about as an attempt to give Superman more female villains, even though Silver Banshee was right there. Like, seriously guys, what the hell are you doing? Starting as a radio shock jock, Leslie Willis spends all of her time chasing cheap rage bait ratings by trashing everything popular, especially Superman.
Hello? Hello? Am I the only one who's physically ill from this count's pathetic devotion to that phony flying Boy Scout? No one's that nice for free, people. The Man of Steel is pulling the steel wool over your eyes. This Superman is nothing more than the world's strongest con man.
Let's just thank the Lord that she wasn't around to do this in the age of Twitter and podcasts and YouTube, huh? I mean, I can only handle so many 4-hour-long that thing you like is trash videos.
Of course, her own ego then leads her to holding a self-celebratory concert during a storm which gets her set by lightning and turns her into the electrified Livewire. Blaming Superman for her transformation because accountability is apparently a completely made-up concept to her, she goes on to fight Big Blue and puts on a hell of a show while doing it. Now I'll be real, this episode isn't on here because it's necessarily one of the best. It's pretty straightforward all things considered, with no higher stakes than usual or really any big influence on the rest of the series. Aside from her sequel episode with the Parasite, which is also pretty damn good. What it is, however, is entertaining as all hell. Although I'm not even sure why Leslie even wants to kill Superman because goddamn does she seem to enjoy her powers and all the attention it gets her. She absolutely milks her screen time for all it's worth, and her voice actress Lori Petty gives an absolutely firecracker performance.
So, yeah, the crew might not have caught lightning in a bottle twice and unleashed Harley Quinn 2.0 on the world like they probably hoped, but they sure as hell put in a solid effort.
Mxyzpixilated. Because no Superman the Animated Series related video is complete without bringing up Gilbert Gottfried.
Hi, guy!
Mxy, the all-powerful fifth-dimensional trickster, is about as strange as Superman characters get. But he's also a perfect example of what Superman should remember to be. Fun. In the comics, Mxy mostly just messes with Superman for the hell of it, and sometimes he even does it just to let Superman blow off a little steam so he remembers to lighten up after a series of particularly dark events.
I mean, yeah, Superman might get annoyed by his antics, but he can honestly be a breath of fresh air after some writer somewhere decides that Superman needs to act and feel like Batman with super strength for a while.
And I mean, hey, if you want that, we've got Nighttime. But Superman the Animated Series went in a bit of a different direction. Where I tend to prefer the orange suit Mxy who's more of a frenemy, this show took his Golden Age appearance, made him one of the most outright villainous and spiteful versions of the character you can find, and paired it with the late great Gilbert Gottfried's signature screechy voice.
And it is absolutely freaking genius. I mean, there's a reason they kept asking Gilbert to voice Mxy in other shows as well.
Pam Anderson is walking on a beach. She stumbles upon a magic lamp. She rubs the lamp, a genie pops out. And the genie says, I'm here to grant you one wish. So Pam says, okay, can you make my vagina tight again?
This episode is great for a multitude of reasons. It's not just because Mxy's antics are funny and creative on their own. It's not just because it's a great showcase of Superman using his brains to solve a problem and almost never throwing a single punch the whole episode. It's because the whole thing plays out like one long comedy sketch. Seriously, there's a whole montage of Mxy coming back on the dot every 3 months to mess with Superman after he tricks the little guy into going back home. And each time Superman fools him in less than a minute. No wonder the little guy's pissed. It's like watching Wile E. Coyote get fucked over by the Roadrunner in Fast Forward.
Look, as much as I advocate for the superhero genre being more than perfectly capable of telling serious and intense stories, you're still watching a dude in underwear and a cape flying around punching robots at the end of the day. This is a genre that really needs someone to throw a pyre to every now and then.
Even at his most villainous, Mxy reminds us of the inherent silliness and childlike joy of the superhero genre. And Gottfried's voice adding to the cartoony feel of it all just makes this a perfect Mxy episode.
If only The Simpsons would wipe its ass in front of Seth MacFarlane, he could learn to do it too.
It's too bad that the second one kinda sucks, but oh well, can't win them all.
What an asshole!
Action figures.
You know, while rewatching this show, I actually found myself surprised by just how little Superman's rogues actually show up.
This is true of the Batman series as well, actually. You'd think every episode features one of the main baddies, but most of them only get a small handful of focus episodes each, and I'm honestly fine with that. It allows other characters some time to shine, and it ensures that they never overstay their welcome. But surprisingly, the one regular Superman villain to get the most appearances outside of Luthor or Brainiac is Metallo, of all people.
And if you ask me, his second outing in action figures is by far the best one.
After getting thrown in the ocean at the end of his first episode, John Corbin, the cyborg with the kryptonite heart, walks across the ocean floor for a full year, eventually ending up at a small volcanic island where a researcher is currently living with his 2 children, who he just lets run around unsupervised despite the place suffering frequent earthquakes and being in danger of erupting.
Proving once again that the real heroes of the story are Child Protective Services. Isn't that right, live-action Lilo and Stitch?
Thankfully, Metallo arrives and saves the kids from a disaster, having gone amnesiac from his time underwater. The kids dub him Steelman, and for a while it seems like Metallo might have a chance to turn over a new leaf. Until his memories start to return and he doubles down on his hatred of Superman, willfully endangering the trusting kids just to further his revenge. The whole episode almost plays out like a warped reverse version of the Iron Giant. And you spend the whole time watching it just waiting for the inevitable moment Metallo snaps back to villainy because you know he will, even though there's a tiny part of you that kind of hopes that he won't.
You're a good guy. Like Superman.
Look at him. He's big. He's strong. Like Superman.
Superman?
I'm Superman.
Superman wouldn't let anyone die, no matter how bad they were.
I'm not Superman. I am Metallo. I am Metallo.
See? I told you. But I think what really makes this episode great is the way it just highlights the horror of Metallo's character.
The guy spent a year underwater with nothing to occupy his mind to the point it practically rotted away, simply because his body couldn't actually die. And then when he ends up stuck inside volcanic rock at the end of this episode, essentially repeating that fate after failing to make something worthwhile of his freedom, he consciously chooses to latch on to the only things he knows anymore. His name, his hatred, and revenge. John Corbin was an awful person before, certainly, but he was still a man changed against his will, clinging to some hope of regaining at least some of his humanity. And then when he got the chance, he threw it away because it wasn't physical or tangible enough for him.
And so, John Corbin the man finally dies, and leaves behind nothing but Metallo. Now who wants to see Lois Lane in workout clothes?
Boingy, boingy, boingy. Dana Delaney.
Next up is Father's Day. This is Darkseid. Darkseid has a son named Kalibak and an advisor named Desad. They're assholes. Superman is a dick. No, seriously, there used to be a whole website about it, look it up. And he has laid claim to a whole planet full of pussies, including his parents, who are visiting him and Lois in Metropolis that day. Now, Asshole 1 wants to shit all over all the pussies and is a total dick to Asshole 2, who he thinks is a pussy. So Asshole 2 wants to go to Earth to shit all over the pussies to impress Asshole 1, but Asshole 1 won't let him. So Asshole 3, who got fucked by the dick earlier in the episode and is of the scheming little asshole subspecies, sends Asshole 2 to Earth anyway, hoping he'll get fucked so hard by the dick that Asshole 1 forgets about how badly Asshole 3 got fucked. Now the dick really doesn't want Asshole 2 to shit on his 3 favorite pussies today, so after a lot of struggling, he finally fucks him so hard he gets all worn out. But that's when Asshole 1 shows up to shit on the dick real quick before they both retreat and prepare themselves to unleash a much bigger shitstorm later in the season.
And thank you, Team America! 21 years later, and that analogy is still perfect.
Okay, but in all seriousness, about 50% of this episode is just Superman and Caliban beating the ever-living shit out of each other, and it is freaking awesome!
People tend to forget that Superman is not all about just getting cats down from trees and stuff like that. The dude can fight, and when he's up against someone who can actually take a punch, he can get downright brutal. I mean, case in point.
Boom, bitch! And can we talk about how cool Jonathan Kent is in this episode? He sees a giant hairy space troll tearing down buildings, and his only reaction is to stop and mutter about how he needs to behave himself.
Somebody should take that bruiser down a peg.
Not even getting a ceiling dropped on him stops him from snarking about it.
Is this my Father's Day present?
You need to watch your butt if you're gonna keep this up, Mr. Kent, because you're graduating from dad to daddy real fucking quick.
It really makes you wonder how he'd react if, I don't know, Brainiac pulled up on the farm or something.
Oh wait, that happened too, and Jonathan straight up pulled a shotgun on him. And Martha got in on the action too.
Can you guys be my parents? Please? I'll do anything. I'll wear the red undies if that's what you want.
Look, bottom line, Father's Day is both a great showcase of Superman's badassery and a great way to build Darkseid up even further as someone Superman is not going to take down easily. It's just beautiful work all around. The late Mr. Kent.
So sometimes there are people who ask, what is Clark's purpose in a Superman story? Like, isn't he just some way for Superman to hear about disasters he can save people from?
The answer is no. Unlike the way that Bruce Wayne sometimes believes that Batman is the real him, Superman is Clark Kent. It's how he grew up, it's who he is, it's who he prefers to be. He actually takes his job seriously, and he's happy living that way. And the late Mr. Kent exemplifies this beautifully. In this episode, Clark is working on trying to clear the name of one Ernest Walker who is on death row, accused of killing someone after robbery. Clark is convinced of his innocence and wishes to solve this as a reporter first and a superhero second.
Well, that is right up until the moment somebody tries to assassinate Clark.
That guy died.
Knowing there's no way regular old Clark could have survived, Superman is now at a loss. He can't be Clark anymore, he has to watch people in his life mourn his death, and time is running out on saving the life of an innocent man. And this isn't exactly a situation that can be solved by punching the nearest supervillain. It's essentially a crime noir story that just happens to feature a big flying dude in a blue bodysuit.
It's got action, mystery, sorrow, detective work, corruption, and possibly one of the darkest bits of justice you've ever seen in a Saturday morning cartoon.
Considering that Superman started his career in the comics fighting the system more than common crooks and supervillains, and the state of some places in the world right now, the late Mr. Kent is as relevant now as it has ever been. A few dated tech references aside. Yeah, remember these things? God, I'm so old.
And you know what? Just in case there's someone watching this who hasn't actually seen this episode, I'm not even gonna go into any more detail. The ending is too good for me to spoil it for you, so just go watch it for yourself. You won't regret it.
Well, there you have it. Those were my personal favorite Superman the Animated Series episodes. Of course, there's a lot of other great entertainment to be found in this show, and in Bruce Timm's DC animated universe as a whole. So if this has given you just a little bit of a taste of the Big Blue Boy Scout, go watch the show right now and prepare yourself for Gun's summer extravaganza. I know I'm excited. Or you could watch any of the other amazing Superman media that's out there. There's more than enough to pick from.
But anyway, that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching, folks, and make sure to keep watching the skies. Because that thing you see flying around up there might not be a bird. It might not be a plane. It just might be the granddaddy of all superheroes. See you in the next one, folks, and bye-bye.
Hey there, folks, and thank you so much for watching. Sorry for leaving you hanging for as long as I did. I'll try not to take so long on the next video, so maybe you should hit the subscribe button so you'll be the first to know when the next one drops. And while you're doing that, why don't you go right ahead and press the like button and tell me about some of your own favorite Superman the Animated Series episodes in the comments below. As usual, a round of special thanks go to John Algitz, Silvermoon Ravenwolf, Warren Miller, Special Paladin, Eleanor Strawhed, John G. Robinson, The Danish Penguin, Andreas Wilsom, and anyone else who supports me over on Patreon. Thank you so much, folks. If you'd like to support me as well, you can find links to my Patreon and my Ko-fi in the description below, along with a link to my Discord server, which you're welcome to join. And if you just can't wait to get more of me for some reason, you can always check out my other channels as well. See you in the next one, folks, and bye-bye.